had just moved into my first apartment with my boyfriend. On move-in day, my boyfriend was working, so I started moving things alone. I noticed my neighbor, who is a man probably in his late 60s, was watching me the entire time, so I waved as I was going into my apartment. When I walked out of my apartment, he was standing outside my door and said, "I guess I should have helped you." That was the last encounter I had for about a week. My boyfriend had never seen this man, so I assumed he believed that I lived by myself. My next encounter, it was about 11 p.m. and I took my dog outside to go potty. I looked up and the same man was watching me from his blinds. I was extremely creeped out, so I looked away and tried to get my dog to hurry up. I looked at his blinds again and he was no longer there. About 30 seconds later, my dog started to freak out and lunge. So I looked and the man came outside. The first thing he said is, "I just wanted to let you know I walked into your apartment. My friend used to live here and I got confused." He stumbled over his words and got into his car. My boyfriend was in the living room before I took the dog outside, so I rushed inside to talk to him. He immediately started talking about it. He said this man opened the door and began to walk in, but they made eye contact. As soon as he saw my boyfriend, he hurried and shut the door and went to talk to me. I haven't had an experience since the last time I saw him, but from everything that has happened, it's easy to assume that this man thought I lived alone and was planning on waiting for me in my apartment.
Me and my boyfriend was driving to the beach. The beach is approximately a 3-hour drive from our home. As we were driving on the highway, we noticed a woman walking on the side of the road holding a baby wrapped in a blanket. We figured she had been walking a long distance because the highway was not by any nearby communities. So I told my boyfriend to pull over. So he pulled over to the side of the road and I got out of the car so I can approach the lady. When she walked towards me, it looked like she had been crying. So initially I asked her, was she okay? But she didn't say anything. So I asked her, did she need a ride? Still no answer. The lady just stood in front of me, holding her baby, just staring at me. So I asked her in Spanish, did she speak English? And she shook her head, no. Then I asked if she needed a ride, pointing to my boyfriend's truck. She shook her head, yes. So I led her to the truck and she got in. So we pulled back on the road and then my boyfriend asked her, where did she want us to drop her off at? And she just burst out screaming, "Help, help, help." I was like, what's wrong? But she just kept screaming help. So my boyfriend pulled back over onto the side of the road. We started to try and calm her down, but she just kept yelling help. So I decided to call 911 because I'm thinking this lady is having a mental breakdown. But she unwrapped the blanket from the baby, but as she was unwrapping the blanket, I seen that it wasn't a baby. It was a baby doll. And that's when I jumped out of the truck. I was so scared, I didn't know what was going on. My boyfriend got out of the truck also to come to talk to me, and he was like, I don't know, what should we do? I don't know what's going on with her. And he gave me a hug. And as we were starting to walk back to the truck, our truck was driving off. The lady took our truck.
Haunted by a dead girl? Story time. After I graduated college, I decided that I was going to move in with my friend. And for me, things were going great, but for my roommate, things were going horribly. Now, she did have a nicer room than I did, but she claimed that it was haunted. So much so that she would hear a girl crying in her room sometimes, and she was having nightmares of drowning. But I ignored it because I thought she was just crazy. Until she moved out and I moved into her bedroom. I started having nightmares too, but they were so weird. I was in somebody else's body, but I was drowning in pitch black water. But this one time I had the nightmare, I ended up escaping the water and I ended up in my bathroom. I walked over to the mirror, but when I looked, it wasn't me. I looked like a girl who just drowned, soaking wet and pretty much dead. Then I walked out of the bathroom and saw myself sleeping. Then the body that I was in whispered, "I'm coming for you." I instantly woke up and next to me was a puddle of water.
My fiancé and I are high school sweethearts and we've been together for about 12 years. We were engaged for around 3 when he passed away due to an accident in the beginning of 2020. A few weeks ago, his brother came to visit me and he's planning to propose to his girlfriend. He asked me if he could have the family's engagement ring. The ring my fiancé gave me is a family ring which has been in the family for generations. I have been wearing this ring for almost 3 years and it's a symbol of our relationship. I don't feel ready to give it up. When I told him this, he got upset and said it's a family ring and it belongs to him now that his brother is dead. I told him to get out. I called his mom to let her know why I wanted to keep the ring. She told me she wouldn't have minded if I had been married to him, but I wasn't, so I'm not part of the family and therefore I should return the ring. She said I'll move on one day and it's unfair to hold on to a ring that I will never wear again, especially a ring that belongs to her family for generations. I would have at least considered giving back the ring in a few years. I just can't bear the thought of parting with this ring now. So I told her I'm sorry that she felt that way, but her son gave me this ring and I'm not giving it back. Since then, his mom and his brother have been spamming my phone with messages and calls about how I'm trying to steal their family ring. So am I wrong for wanting to keep the ring?
Let me tell you about the time I got into a fight at school. Now, before I start, I want to say fighting is not the answer to anything. Don't fight, kids, okay? Now, it all started in the cafeteria at lunchtime. So I was eating lunch with one of my friends. Yeah, I'm not popular at all. So me and my only friend was talking about our plans for the weekend when the most popular girls in our grade school came to our table. One of the girls named Laura said to us, we need this table. Can you two losers get up? Losers? Like, how does she know that we're losers? I'm not saying we not losers, but how does she know? I was really shocked that my only friend was getting up to move to another table, but I grabbed her by her hand and pulled her back down to sit. I told my friend that they don't have the right to make us move. So I looked at Lauren and I told her, we're not moving. We were here first. Now, I'm not the aggressive type, but I just didn't like how she just told us to leave. She was being rude. As soon as I said that, one of the girls grabbed my milk carton and poured the milk over my head. I was so shocked. I literally just sat there for like 5 minutes, just letting everything sink in that I have freaking chocolate milk on my hair. And everyone was staring at me, so I was totally upset. So I grabbed my food tray and hit her with it. And as soon as I did that, all 3 of the girls jumped me. I was getting punched, elbowed, kicked, everything. My only friend in the whole wide world just sat there eating her lunch while I was getting beat up.
I'm 24 years old and I recently married my childhood sweetheart. We had a pretty small wedding due to the global situation, but it was planned well in advance so we didn't cancel, just kept it to family. And we planned to have a party with everyone else at a later date. For some background on my husband, his parents had him pretty young. They were both 18 and 19 and he has a very close family. Our wedding reception was quite intimate, but we had the traditional speeches planned. Father of the bride, best man, which was my husband's brother, and the groom. It was only the day before that my mother-in-law asked if she could have the mic to say a few words when we sat down to eat. And we said this would be great. Big mistake. Stupid us. We figured she would talk about us at our wedding, so we never asked what she planned to say. She announced to all of our guests that she's expecting a baby. She's still pretty young and very healthy, but it was a huge shock that just completely took over the night. What's even worse for me is that I'm also pregnant and we plan to announce it at the wedding, but I told my husband to just leave it out of his speech. I explained that I felt like the attention was taken away from us without our permission.